Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson once stood as the most admired man in sports and Hollywood. From the wrestling ring to blockbuster films, he built an image of strength, charm, and relentless determination. He was the superstar who could do no wrong. A household name who inspired millions with his smile, his discipline, and his story of perseverance. But in recent years, something has shifted. A carefully polished image has begun to show signs of strain. A controversial WrestleMania storyline drew record backlash. A fundraiser with Oprah sparked public anger. His movie empire stumbled. Even his social media, once the strongest in Hollywood, lost millions of followers in months. Fans who once adored him are now questioning whether the man they admired was ever real. This is not just the story of a celebrity losing fans. It is the unraveling of a global brand built on reinvention, ambition, and control. To understand how The Rock went from the world's most beloved entertainer to one of the most criticized figures in pop culture, we have to go back to the beginning, to see how the rise created the seeds of the fall. Dwayne Douglas Johnson was born into wrestling. His father, Rocky Johnson, and grandfather, Peter Maivia, had already carved paths in the ring, but young Dwayne's future was uncertain. His family often struggled financially, and at one point, they were evicted from their home. Johnson turned to football for a way out, earning a scholarship to the University of Miami, but injuries ended his NFL dreams before they could begin. Wrestling became his backup plan, though at first, it seemed like another dead end. In 1996, he debuted in WWE under the name Rocky Maivia, a smiling, wholesome babyface crafted to be the perfect hero. But the fans didn't buy it. Chants of "Rocky sucks" echoed through arenas, a painful reminder that the audience found him fake. It could have been the end of his career, but instead, Johnson reinvented himself. He became The Rock, loud, arrogant, witty, and unapologetically brash. Fans who once mocked him now hung on every word of his promos. His catchphrase, "If you smell what The Rock is cooking," wasn't just a line. It was a promise of entertainment. By the late 1990s, The Rock had become one of WWE's biggest stars, selling out arenas and headlining pay-per-views. His ability to adapt saved his career, and that adaptability would define his life. He was never afraid to change himself for the audience, and for a long time it worked. Yet that same trait would later become his greatest weakness. Wrestling made The Rock a household name, but Johnson wanted more. His eyes were set on Hollywood. He made his film debut in The Mummy Returns in 2001, followed by a leading role in The Scorpion King in 2002. While the box office results were decent, critics dismissed him as a wrestler turned actor with limited range. For years, he bounced between action films and comedies, never quite breaking through to the top tier. Then came 2011. Cast as Luke Hobbs in Fast 5, Johnson finally found his Hollywood moment. His role as the relentless lawman added new energy to the Fast and Furious franchise and helped push the film past $600 million worldwide. For the first time, Johnson was more than a former wrestler chasing film roles. He was a genuine box office draw. After that, he became a fixture in action films. From San Andreas to Rampage to Jumanji, he built a reputation as the hardest working man in Hollywood, a family-friendly action star who promoted discipline, positivity, and resilience. On social media, he showcased his workouts and motivational speeches, cultivating an image that went beyond film. He wasn't just an actor, he was an icon of success. But behind that success was a carefully managed brand. Every post, every interview, every film choice was designed to expand his reach. The Rock was not just Dwayne Johnson anymore. He was a global business. For years, Johnson's reputation was built on being a team player, the guy who lifted others up. But in 2016, that image began to crack. During the filming of The Fate of the Furious, he posted a now famous message on Instagram criticizing unnamed male co-stars as candy asses and unprofessional. Though he didn't mention anyone directly, fans and media quickly pointed to Vin Diesel. The post ignited a storm. Behind the scenes, reports suggested Johnson had demanded specific contract terms, never losing on screen, always having equal fight time, and securing more focus in ensemble scenes. To fans who had admired him as a humble star, these revelations painted a different picture. Suddenly, The Rock wasn't just the smiling, hard-working team player. He was someone determined to protect his image at any cost, even if it meant clashing with co-stars and disrupting the spirit of the franchise. Fans and the media dissected every word. Was he standing up for himself, or was he letting his ego control him? Johnson later deleted the post and tried to downplay the feud, but the damage was done. His friendly, positive reputation had taken a hit. The public began to see the man behind the brand, and not everyone liked what they saw. The Vin Diesel feud planted doubt, but what followed deepened the cracks. Beginning in 2017, Johnson started posting about his first ever experiences at In-N-Out Burger. Each time, he presented it as a fun, relatable moment, the superstar finally trying America's favorite fast food chain. Fans enjoyed it the first time, but when he made the same claim again in 2022 and again in 2023, it turned into a running joke. Internet users quickly uncovered his earlier posts, proving he had staged the first-time narrative multiple times. YouTubers highlighted the inconsistencies, with Penguin Zero's video dissecting the pattern pulling in millions of views.
The Rock is the fakest celebrity in Hollywood. I truly believe that. This is the third time he's done it. He keeps pretending that he's trying In-N-Out for the first time every couple of years. Why? Why are you lying about that? You could just say, like, I love In-N-Out, so I'm going back to In-N-Out. Let's go. Can't wait for more In-N-Out.
Is history in the making. It is Sunday night, approximately 11 p.m. It is Cheat Meal Sunday for all of us around the world, certainly for me here. And the reason why this is history in the making is because this is the very first time that I have ever tried an In-N-Out burger.
What seemed like a small exaggeration became something bigger, evidence that Johnson's every move was carefully planned for attention and marketing. When fans realized even something as small as a burger trip was staged, they started to question everything. Was his smile real? Were his inspirational gym videos authentic? Or was it all a performance designed to maintain the brand? Johnson eventually edited one of his posts to acknowledge the slip, but the explanation felt hollow. Trust had been dented, and once trust erodes, it rarely returns fully. Dwayne Johnson's brand has always leaned heavily on his physique. At 50, he looked bigger, leaner, and more defined than ever, posting 4 a.m. workout videos with captions like "hardest worker in the room." His commitment to the gym became part of his legend, inspiring millions who believed discipline and effort could lead to a body like his. But experts began to raise doubts. Johnson often claimed to eat 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day, fueled by cod, rice, and greens. Coaches and nutritionists publicly said this was impossible. If he truly ate that much, he would gain massive weight, not stay lean.
You see The Rock, and he's standing there with his shirt off, with his shorts on. There's not a man alive who doesn't want to be built like that. So if he's telling you that he's not doing anything to get that I don't know, and I don't know if he is. Does he say, I've never taken steroids in my life? Does he say that?
He said in one instance that when he was 18, him and his friends took something and it gave him gynecomastia, and then he never touched it again or something like that.
That seems suspect.
Super suspect.
The supposed superhuman diet was a myth designed to impress fans. His workout videos also came under scrutiny. In clips labeled raw and unedited, he appeared exhausted while squatting. But critics pointed out the weight was relatively light for someone his size. They suggested he was performing, exaggerating intensity for the camera. The biggest controversy centered on steroids. Johnson admitted to trying them briefly as a teenager, but always insisted he was natural as an adult. Yet his physique told another story. Most men shrink with age. Johnson's body grew more defined. Joe Rogan, Eddie Hall, and Greg Doucette all voiced doubts, with Doucette claiming flatly, "At 50, it's impossible to look like that naturally. He's using everything." The accusations stuck because they struck at the heart of his brand. Johnson built a career telling people hard work was enough. If that was false, then the millions who bought his supplements, drinks, and gear weren't following inspiration. They were following a carefully packaged illusion. Hashtags like #RockOnRoids trended, and memes mocked his mantra of discipline. The strongest man in the room suddenly looked vulnerable. Not because of weakness, but because of dishonesty. Now, you won't even believe how much weight he suddenly lost, and everyone is grilling him for it. If the gym built his image, Hollywood was where he wanted to cement it. In 2022, Johnson launched his most ambitious project yet, Black Adam. More than a starring role, he was also producer, marketing face, and architect of what he hoped would be a new DC superhero era centered on him. He promoted the movie as a game changer and insisted it would shift the hierarchy of DC forever. But when it released, the results were crushing. The film grossed $393 million worldwide, But with a budget and marketing total near $260 million, analysts calculated it needed $600 million to break even. Instead, it lost up to $100 million. Instead of admitting defeat, Johnson leaked reports claiming the film had turned a profit, citing streaming revenue and other deals. Industry outlets quickly called the claims misleading. Fans mocked him online. After 25 years, we finally know what The Rock's cooking, cooked books. The backlash was brutal because it wasn't just a box office flop. It was the first time Johnson looked like he couldn't sell success. For years, his name meant reliable profit. Now he looked like a fading star trying to rewrite math to protect his reputation. In the entertainment industry, perception is everything, and the perception was clear. Johnson's unstoppable run was no longer guaranteed. By 2022, Johnson's problem was no longer just movies or fitness. It was credibility. That year, he praised Joe Rogan on Instagram after Rogan faced criticism for using racial slurs in old clips. Johnson called him a great friend and said he looked forward to appearing on the podcast. When fans pointed out the controversy, Johnson quickly apologized, saying he hadn't known the full story. The pattern repeated in 2023 after the devastating Maui wildfires. Johnson and Oprah Winfrey launched the People's Fund of Maui, each pledging $5 million while asking the public to donate. The optics were disastrous. People accused two of the world's wealthiest celebrities of soliciting money from struggling fans.
We were so concerned about what was happening in Maui that we were texting back and forth. And I said, I think this is the answer. You said, I think that's the answer.
I said, I love it.
And so we have created the People's Fund of Maui. So if you send a donation, just click where you see below and send a donation. That money is going to go to one of many residents who have been displaced in Maui. We guarantee.
Once again, Johnson posted a video apology, acknowledging he could have done better. Fans noticed the trend. Whenever controversy hit, he backtracked.
When we first launched the fund, there was some backlash that came with launching the fund, and I want to address and acknowledge that backlash right now. I get it, and I completely understand. And I could have been better. And next time I will be better. And there's a lot of people out there who's living paycheck to paycheck. And I get it, and I know what that's like. I've lived paycheck to paycheck. $7, I know. I don't want to speak for everybody, I'll speak for myself. But I feel it's connected. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, I was easily pissed off and I was frustrated. And the last thing you want to hear when you are living paycheck to paycheck is someone asking you for money. Especially when the person asking you for money already has a lot of money.
To many, this looked less like accountability and more like a lack of conviction. He shifted positions to please whichever audience was loudest at the moment. Critics labeled him Dwayne the Ad Johnson, pointing out that most of his Instagram posts were product promotions. His once relatable image had thinned into pure branding. Apologies couldn't rebuild the trust because they felt like PR moves instead of genuine remorse. In January 2024, Johnson returned to his wrestling roots, joining WWE's board of directors. Fans were excited, believing he would help guide the company forward. But just days later, controversy erupted when he inserted himself into WrestleMania's main storyline, taking the spotlight from Cody Rhodes, who had just previously won the Royal Rumble and was set to challenge the current champion, Roman Reigns. The move felt forced and unfair. Fans accused Johnson of using his new executive power to rewrite WWE history in his favor. The promotional video for The Rock vs. Reigns match racked up over 700,000 dislikes on YouTube, making it the most disliked in WrestleMania history. Online, the hashtag #CodyDeservesBetter trended worldwide, with fans accusing Johnson of stealing the moment from a younger star. Even within WWE, discontent grew. Wrestlers like Seth Rollins publicly voiced disappointment. Reports suggested Johnson's interference disrupted long-term creative plans, and the backlash forced WWE to rewrite the storyline, restoring Cody's path to victory. For fans, it was the final straw. The Rock, who once symbolized fair play and determination, now looked like he was manipulating the system for his own glory. In wrestling, perception is everything. The crowd that once cheered him louder than anyone now booed his decisions. His legacy, decades in the making, seemed to crumble in weeks. By 2024, the numbers told the story as clearly as the headlines. Johnson had lost over 5 million Instagram followers in a matter of months. His upcoming films faced delays or cancellations. His endorsements, once seen as authentic extensions of his image, looked more like constant advertisements. Fans weren't just walking away because of one bad movie, one feud, or one controversy. They were leaving because the illusion had broken. The lies about burgers, the staged workouts, the steroid denials, the false prophet claims, the hollow apologies, the WWE power play. Together, they painted a picture of a man more focused on protecting his brand than being real. The Rock had always reinvented himself to fit what the audience wanted. A villain in wrestling, a hero in films, a motivational figure online. But in chasing every role, he lost himself. The man who once connected with millions by being larger than life now felt distant, hollow, and inauthentic. And yet, the story isn't finished. Some fans still believe he can recover if he steps away from the perfect image and embraces imperfection. If he admits mistakes instead of covering them. If he shows himself as Dwayne Johnson, a flawed human, rather than The Rock, the indestructible brand. But for now, his fall stands as a warning. In a world where authenticity is valued above all else, no brand, no matter how strong, can survive without truth. If you want to stay updated on the biggest celebrity stories and behind-the-scenes drama, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, you'll never miss our next deep dive. And don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you think about The Rock's fall from the top.